Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the, just the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me. Absolutely happened to me. I had, for years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week, we look at St. John's, Arizona, where one of the youngest serial killers in history changed things forever. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yeah. You're excited this week, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah.
I'm super excited this week.
Yes.
Thank everyone out there for joining us. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
We're excited. We're very excited. Thank you guys for all the iTunes reviews this week. We really, really appreciate it. That helps us so much. Your help keeping us on the charts, and we just got some sponsors about to come on board soon. So
we haven't fallen off the charts yet. I love saying that every week. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. Hope you enjoyed last week, or no, and I don't know if enjoyed is for a horrible tragedy, but that was. One of the worst, and we've covered in Crime and Sports, we've covered a lot of people, and we've covered a few here, and he's in the top 3 of worst people we covered, the Jerry McFadden.
One of the worst
week.
people I've ever heard of.
Ever heard of. He was just a horrible person.
Terrible.
Somebody sent us a message saying that they know the secretary that he took on the 1979 deal and left her for dead.
And all
the
that
kidnapping.
Shit.
She said for some reason they only charged him with the sexual assault. She doesn't know why, but she knows the lady, and he did horrible things to her, abused her, and left her for dead.
Yeah, ruined her life forever.
Yeah, so I mean, it's ridiculous.
Poor girl.
And that was the minor crime in that, which was just ridiculous.
How crazy is that? That's the fucking nicest thing he ever did in his life.
It's unreal. Yeah, the other things were worse because at least the woman wasn't 14 or she didn't end up dead.
Right.
That's how bad this guy was. He was horrible.
Terrible individual.
Thank you, guys. I just wanted to go over one thing real quick with you guys here.
And I'm going to let you preface it. I'm going to let you tell the story. But listen, don't fucking take this lightly, what James is about to say. This is so important.
This is a real story I'm going to tell you guys about. And we've gotten a couple of people, some feedback saying how basically just some feedback thinking that we don't care about the victims or we're laughing about it or we're doing all this. Let me explain something to you guys. And this is going to be a short story, okay? This is the origin of why I think we should be laughing around these things, not at the crimes, but around the things that happen to them. Right. Because this is the way you get by. When I was 11 years old, 1989, true story, and I've never told this on either podcast, have I? True story. My great-grandmother at the time was 84 years old. She lived in Florida, and we got a call one night that she was murdered. And that's dead serious. We got a call that she was murdered, and we found out how she was murdered. Apparently somebody knocked on the door and asked to use her phone or or use the bathroom, something like that. Ugh. My great-grandmother was a very nice woman. She's, first of all, let me preface, she's 5 foot tall, about 89 pounds, soaking wet. Right. Sweet little old lady. Looks like Hubie Brooks, the basketball announcer. That's what he looks like. That's what she looks like. We used to call him.
She's adorable.
We used to call him Big Nan because she had the same hair, the white hair. Anyway, so we found out she was murdered, and we found out this person ransacked her apartment, tied her to a chair, and cut her throat.
Oh, what a turd he is.
So she, actually.
No, not your grandma.
No, she. The person who did it was a woman. This was a woman. She was a really bad drug addict. She was a crackhead. And she did this to my great-grandmother. And this was a personal thing that we could cover something like that on this show. That's how nasty it was. It really was disgusting what they did to her. It was bad. And we're at the funeral. Yeah. And it's an open coffin and an open casket at the funeral. So they had to cover her throat, obviously. So they had strings of pearls, because she used to wear like pearls, old lady stuff. And she had strings of pearls, and it was probably wrapped around her throat about 8 times around her neck to cover to make like a barrier to cover the wound so you wouldn't see it at the funeral. And I was 11 years old, and I was sitting there with my cousin at the casket, and I looked over at my cousin and I said, if she had been wearing that the whole time, none of us would be here right now. Okay? That's my great-grandmother, who I loved. I loved this woman. She's sweet. She was the matriarch of that side of the family. And that's what popped into my head to get through it. Yeah. Because it was disturbing for me, and it was either be depressed, turn into some kind of serial killer, or make a fucking joke about it. And that's the day I became a comedian. And that's the day I became interested in this sort of thing. And so that's where this comes from. That's where the humor comes from.
Standing over the matriarch of your family's coffin.
I did, and my cousin looked at me.
Animal.
Well, it wasn't even. It was just how I could get. I was 11.
I love it.
I was 11. It was how I could get through it, and I didn't know what else. It was either that or like, oh my, I didn't know how to. Yeah. Everybody was very sad, and I was like, I should say something funny and make them not sad anymore.
Picture a tiny little Italian guy saying that shit.
Yeah, that was me. I had big puffy hair, big puffy hair, and everything.
Dressed nice, and then you said that shit. That's the funniest goddamn thing I've ever heard in my life.
I had like the 1977 Pete Rose haircut, just over the years, one of those. And my cousin thought it was hilarious because he's got a dark sense of humor too. Yeah. And he looked at me like either this kid's sick or he's funny. And so hopefully I'm funny. But anyway, that's where we come from with this. So I don't take this shit lightly. Right. I didn't take that lightly, and I don't take this lightly. Humor is how I can deliver information, how I can get through stuff.
And how I can tolerate terrible circumstances.
And we're thinking, hopefully, maybe there's a lot of other people that are like that out there that are feeling the same way, and maybe they'll be on board for this. So the disclaimer for the week is, if you don't think that true crime and comedy should go together, turn it off, unsubscribe, take a hike, because if we hear later, they're denigrating the victims. No, we're not. No. Guarantee you we're not, because I have respect for these victims, and so do you, and we really do.
I didn't say a damn thing terrible about any of these victims yet. I'll rip apart a murderer.
Absolutely.
I'll rip them limb from limb.
We're actually going to, as I say that, we are going to denigrate a victim this week, because one of the victims of this crime was a complete piece of shit.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So it's one of those.
Sometimes karma comes around and bites you, bro.
Sorry to make that a little lengthy, but I thought that would explain a little bit of where we come from and where our mindsets are. And Jimmy, I know you've had tons of tragedy and horrible things happen to you, and that's why we're comedians, and that's why we do this. So let's get into the crime this week, shall we? Or the town first of St. John's, Arizona.
Oh, it's so pretty.
It's a tiny town. And we, by the way, everybody too, we've also had people, you don't make fun of your own hometown. Right. We live in Arizona. Right. This is our home state. Right. I've lived here for 20 years. How long have you lived here for?
30.
30 years. Yeah. We're residents here. We're locals.
The place. Yeah.
And we live in Phoenix, obviously, which is not a small town.
No.
But we've been to all these towns in Arizona. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something. This is northern Arizona, northeastern Arizona on the New Mexico border. This northern Arizona is weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird place. You think small town, you think you have an idea in your head of what a small town is. Not out here.
No.
It's super weird. It's a mixture of like retired people and people hiding.
And mountainous weirdos.
Like survivalist nutcases that want to live.
There's tons of that.
It's such a weird place.
There's a show on TV, they're survivalist. Yeah. There's a guy that lives up in Prescott that walks. He's never worn shoes in the last 40 years.
Jesus
He's barefoot
Christ.
all day long.
It's like a Kenyan.
It's weird. That's fucking bizarre.
Runner.
And that's what lives here in Arizona.
That's what I mean.
It's like rock people that get their juju from fucking crystals. It's weird.
That's the other thing too. You have Sedona, which is a bunch of super hippie like Stevie Nicks lived up there, and like
bizarre.
it's all crystals and aliens and shit. And then you have like some of these towns where it's just. They're like a lot of them are like refuge for the religious, like the fundamentalist Mormons.
That's right,
and take over some of these
Colorado
towns,
City,
and have 14 wives, not regular LDS, fundamental, the Warren Jeffs people. Yeah. That's where this comes from. The Northern Arizona
you can call them what they are, child molesters. Those fucking weirdos.
He was a child molester. Read the court documents because I have. He's a fucking child molester. He's a piece of shit.
He's gross.
So St. John's, Arizona. It's up in the White Mountains up there. The elevation. Maybe that's what's making these people crazy. It's at 5,686 feet. So
is it really?
It's higher than Denver. I mean,
no
it's
kidding.
The Mile High City here. Yeah, it's up there. It's like I said in the White Mountains. It's kind of a big town for a small town in area. It's 26.1 miles.
Wow,
square miles. That's
a lot.
That's what Manhattan is. Yeah. So I mean, it's a pretty big area.
Spread the fuck out and not up.
Except instead of 8 million people here, there is 3,483 people here.
They almost all have a square mile to themselves.
Pretty much. Less than 3,500 people, which is actually up 5.7% since the last census. Some people are moving there for some reason. I don't know why. The population really went up between 1970 and 1980. It went up 155%.
Wow.
It stayed steady all through the years since it was founded, and we'll get into its history, and then just shot up in the 70s, and I'm like,
exploded.
What the hell happened? And then I finally figured it out. I found that SRP, Salt River Project, is one of the electric companies here, built a massive power plant up there.
There you go.
So they needed workers and people building it. That's where all the people came from.
That'll do it.
That was them. They expanded one here. It's an older town, as a lot of these towns up there are, because a lot of people retire from Phoenix up there. Like they retire. Some people retire to Phoenix, and then people who are in Phoenix retire even farther north. So we just do this circle.
They get the hell out of the heat, is what they do.
That's what it is, and they can't take it anymore. The median age there is 46.7.
Wow.
Which is way older than the 37.4 national average of a median age for a town. Even male versus female, no weird, nothing's out of whack there like it was last week. Pretty average statistically all across the board, except for the number of married with no children, which is nuts. Married with no children, the average around the country is 41.44%.
Yeah.
Married with no children. Here it's 72.66%. So I think we're dealing with old couples. Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of. Or
but married with
people who
that makes sense.
Or people who are really dependable taking their birth control pills. Either one. Something. But that's a lot. And also way more widowed people up there because it's a ton of old people. Yes. It's a lot of retirees and stuff like that. And then, like I said, the redneck survivalists are up there also. And we're going to talk about that. Less than average in every age group from 0 to 14. So not a lot of kids there, as we just mentioned. Obviously, there's not couples with kids. 45 years old plus, more than average in every category. Yeah. That's no shocker here.
Every category.
Everyone.
That's hilarious.
Racially, it's interesting here, actually. 61.13% white, 62% is the average, so that's normal. 0.17% black, so it's probably one guy, literally. That's Ed. Here's our black guy. There he is. How you doing, Ed? Hey, buddy, how are you? 12.24% average, 0.0% Asian, of course.
Right.
They're not even a restaurant there. They don't. 5% is the average. 8.16 Native American, which
Yep.
is way higher than the average.
Yep.
It's
There's
normally
so
half a
many,
percent.
so many reservations up there.
Yeah. It's all reservation, a lot of it. And 29.8% Hispanic.
Wow.
29.80% Hispanic, which is way higher than the 16% average. And this is the first town we've had with more than 2% Hispanic in it, actually.
And that's shocking to me too.
is.
Even though it's in Arizona, that there's that many Spanish people living in northern Arizona in the fucking mountains.
Well, I'll tell you why in a second, too.
Okay.
There's a reason why,
I love it.
actually, a historical reason
Oh,
why.
you know
So
what?
there's a lot
I
of
think I've got a
history here.
good grab of it right now, but go ahead.
Just a quick thing on the schools. They spend less, about a quarter less per
student.
amount less per student. Actually have a higher graduation, higher amount of people up there with a high school education than normal, by about 5%. It's 91% are high school graduates
Wow.
up there. 4-year grads, though, 11%. That drops.
Graduate high school, fucking quit.
Get
I've
out.
had enough.
30% is the average. Just people don't go there because there's no jobs there for people with
And
four-year
they're kind
degrees.
of aged out of the people that are there. When they got out of high school, they went to the fucking army. You know what I mean? They went to the service.
Yeah,
they didn't go to.
they fought the Koreans. You know what I mean? They went over with Alan Alda and fought the Koreans back then. Master's degrees, not a lot of them, about half the average, and 0.00% doctorate. So
How
once
about
again,
that?
nothing to do there if you're doing that. Religious. Now here's where we'll get into the history. Religion. 49.67% say they're religious. 49.42 is average, so right on average there. 21% Catholic, that would be the Hispanic people. Some Baptist, some Pentecostal, other Christian, that sort of thing. 22% LDS.
I was going to say Mormon.
22%
You
Mormon.
betcha.
That's a big thing up there. 0.0% Jewish, 0.0% Muslim. Once again, I don't know what it is about these small towns. I don't know if they're not
so
Jewish
weird.
people aren't allowed.
Yeah.
We get yourself some Jews, you'll have less murders. That's just an anecdotal
That's what we
observation.
found.
Yeah. Surprising politically, actually. 66% Democrat, 31% Republican, which I wouldn't
Weird.
expect up there.
Yeah.
But okay, we'll take
I
it.
guess it's
That's
close
quite
enough to
interesting.
Colorado.
I suppose. I mean, it's just a very small town deal.
But Colorado's still a red state, I believe.
No, not really.
They're,
Well,
they lean more
they
blue,
lean-
but
they
they're
lean-
still red.
Colorado is one of those states that actually splits electoral votes too.
Uh-huh. Oh, they do.
They have them in Maine, I believe, are the two that split. You can get different districts. Okay, let's get
Gotcha.
off of that.
Yeah,
Jesus, that is not
That's too
interesting at
much.
all. Research for another time.
Anyway, it's mostly Democrat. Moving
Mostly.
forward.
Now, originally the town was called San Juan. That's the original name of the town by the first settlers. In 1879, a Mormon land agent bought land and water rights from a guy named Solomon Barth. Basically, he was a freight hauler. He built a bridge across the Little Colorado River and settled some of the workers' families there.
Yeah.
The Mormons found out when they bought it that this guy had also already sold a bunch of this land that he sold to them to 17 Mexican families also that had been there for a long time and settled there.
Yeah, because they used
They're
to
settled.
own it.
Exactly.
Right.
And they're settled. I mean, they're not going. I mean, this is 1879, so I mean, they're not going anywhere.
No.
So the Mormons found, like I said, it's already gone. So the Mormons and Mexicans resented each other for a long time. They like fought with each other. Big shootout, like an OK Corral situation.
Awesome.
In 1882 on June 24th. This is some Old West shit
Yeah.
right here. This is good stuff.
Fuck
man.
yeah.
We haven't had any of this. There's a big shootout between the cattle ranchers from the nearby Greer Ranch and the Spanish settlers.
Yes.
Big shootout. The ranchers hated the Mormons, though, even more than the Mexicans.
Really?
Yes. They said they had an anti-Mormon newspaper. Here's literally an anti-Mormon newspaper, which is crazy.
awesome.
And in May of 1884, this anti-Mormon newspaper wrote, quote, "Desperate diseases need desperate remedies. The Mormon disease is a desperate one, and the rope and the shotgun are the only cure."
Wow.
That's strong.
That is, that's fighting words,
The
babe.
Klan wouldn't fucking say that. Like, that's rough.
No.
These people do not like Mormons at all. Wow. And we're not laughing at but this is 120 years ago. It's not like there's someone
I'm
doing it
laughing
now.
at it.
But it's funny as shit. Like, wow, that's aggressive.
hysterical.
It's aggressive.
The rope and the tree are the
rope
answer.
and the shotgun are the only
Oh my
cure.
God, that's even more. Just that's fighting words for sure.
The only cure.
That's a challenge.
That's fucking amazing. Unreal, man. So the economy of this place, as you might imagine, is a little weird being a small mountain town up there.
I'm guessing mining.
It's not actually mining.
Really?
For there's production, transportation, material moving. That might be considered mining, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Unemployment rate's 12.7%, 12.70, which is more than double,
high.
more than twice the national average of 5.2. Lousy job growth. Household income's about $31,000 is the median household. It's $53,000 average. Only 0.44% of people make over $200,000.
Wow.
It's 5% is the normal.
It's
for that.
mostly fixed income, Social Security stuff.
Yep.
It sounds like
Most people there make between $20,000 and $50,000 a year. So you're
That's
gonna
exactly
get a lot
what
of that.
it is.
That's exactly what it is. Not a lot of tech jobs, which is why there's no college graduates
Right.
there.
You mean that's not the new Silicon Valley?
It's surprising. 0.99% of the jobs are engineering and science. So it's less than a 1%. 0.0% legal again. Guys, get some lawyers up there. It might help you guys.
Stop relying on other towns.
Jesus. Production, transportation, material moving is 17% of the deal. Cost of living up there.
Yeah.
Everything is actually a little bit more expensive because it
Yes.
happens to be in the middle of nowhere, except for housing, like utilities, all that shit. Let's say 100 is the average, as we do for cost of living. St. John's is an 85
For the cost of living.
for the cost of living. Now, the health care is more expensive, transportation's more expensive, that sort of thing. Housing is a 44 compared to 100. So it's way cheaper than usual. Yeah, way cheaper than usual. Median home cost there is $82,000. $185,000 is our average nationally. Low property taxes. For some reason, 20% of the houses are vacant up there. God. I don't know what the hell that's going on, but I guess maybe they're shit boxes no one wants to renovate. A 2-bedroom apartment there will cost you $865 on the average.
Steep.
That seems steep for there, honestly. $1,027 is the national average. 10% of the houses there are valued at less than $20,000.
Wow.
So what the hell are they?
That's got to. Why would you rent an
manufactured
apartment if you can get a $20,000 house?
Absolutely. Now, totally. Now, looking at the St. John's housing report, in case we've convinced you to move there, you want to have a shootout with some Mormons or some Mexican settlers in a creek somewhere. You can find there. Now, a lot of these are manufactured houses. You have to look close. They all look like those houses that you see on the freeway coming in, that are cut in half.
Say
and
wide load on the back.
Giant truck. Yeah, it's one of those. Like there's a 4-bedroom, 1,500 square foot house that I think possibly is manufactured for $117,000.
That's a big place.
That's a big place for cheap. That's a cheap place. They all look manufactured. It's so weird. Or they're cabins. Either one. Either you get a cabin or a shithole, manufactured.
And some of those that are up there in the White Mountains in that general area tend to look like they're manufactured, but they're just preformed, slapped together shit. It's not
houses.
Right. They're just garbage that somebody just all the sides are the same size. That's it.
That's kind of what. Yeah, that's the deal we're looking at here. Now, I found a really nice house, a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 4,500 square foot house, which is enormous.
Yeah.
For $249,000, and it looked nice too.
But
Like I was like, this is a nice house.
If you're making $30,000 a year, you can't afford that goddamn thing.
That's the problem. Now, if you just want to get a tent and camp out somewhere in the beautiful mountains,
that's
up
where
there,
I'm at.
119-acre lot. It's a lot of acreage for $76,000.
What?
So you can just spread out. Just go up
That's
there.
amazing.
Do your thing. Yeah, that's why people move up there.
You would never see the end of your property.
No, that's it.
That's
you have
so much land.
And the land up there is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is beautiful land. Like besides the, shit that happens there, it's a beautiful area. I mean,
20 of those acres might be right down the side of a fucking mountain.
You never know. Yeah, that's the thing. They might be rocks, big rocky things. They might not be usable.
No.
Let's get into the crime rates, because then we'll get into the crime that occurred there. Crime rates here. Property crime, which is burglary, larceny, theft, etc., is exactly average.
Wild.
Normally, the small towns, it's a little higher than average. Exactly average there. But another thing that's odd, usually violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, assault, is usually half. It's usually half.
Right.
Here, it's actually significantly higher.
Wow.
Yeah, it's about 25% higher than the average.
That's
which is
incredible.
Really weird. Now, on the town website here, it's sjaz.us.
Yeah.
They have 3 different slogans. They cannot decide on a slogan on the website.
One's for the Mexican settlers, one's for the Mormons, and one's for the other people.
The cowboys.
Right.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because they're in different spots, and you're like, pick a fucking slogan, pick a motto, get an ad company in there, say, pick a motto
hilarious.
for us.
They didn't even go after like what Raynham did and just lie.
No. And they also too here their upcoming events. I got to do quick. This is great.
Right.
This is on the town website of upcoming events. April 1st and 2nd. There's a gun show. Obviously,
yeah.
I mean and up there too. You kind of need a gun because bears are a consideration up there. This isn't like these guys are you need a gun if you go outside because you might be attacked by a giant wild animal at any moment.
Just to take the trash out.
Yeah, exactly. You should have a gun on you at all times. On the 8th of April is a preparedness fair.
A what?
Those are the survivalist nutcases that are up there. A bunch of pretty much a bunch of white supremacists up there, like, wanting to live off the land. No offense, but sorry. If you're a white supremacist, go fuck yourself anyway. But
or
whatever.
Eagle Scouts that just can't let the Scouts go. And
I
they're
think
like
it's
42.
like that. Yeah, they're like, well, that's why they moved there. Is like when the shit happens in the city, I'll be up here.
I'm safe.
That's what they think too. When everyone's running from the cities, I'll be up here with my shotgun saying, "Coming on my property." That's how these people think. Like I know people that live up there, not in this town, but in other towns up there.
I got 120 acres down the face of a rock mountain. I dare you to climb it.
Yeah, go ahead, asshole. On the 7th and 8th are the horse trials. So I don't know if a horse has committed a crime or if that's some sort of judging deal or what.
The horse trials. That one shit on my property.
That one shit on my... Now, let's get into the slogans here, and then we'll get into the crime.
All right.
The slogans are... slogan number 1 is close-knit, family-first community. That's what it says at the top of their website.
That's the Mormon one.
That's the Mormon one. Okay, then there's one that says the people, the land, the life.
That's the Native American one.
Okay.
That's them.
And then the third one, which is the one that seems to be thrown around by everybody else as their town motto, is, quote, the town of friendly neighbors.
Oh, boy.
Friendly neighbors.
That's
now,
the Cowboys that sent out the propaganda.
Let's get into some of these friendly neighbors and what they do to each other in this town, because there's an excellent segue for this. This is the same town. Well, this isn't the case we're going to do now because it's not that interesting of a case. I looked into it, and I really don't want to mock an 8-year-old boy. This is the case where in November of 2008, an 8-year-old boy shot his father and his father's roommate and is currently being charged with murder.
As an adult?
As he's 8.
Okay.
He's being charged with homicide.
Okay.
That's
crazy.
Batshit, first of all. I have a 9-year-old kid. Yeah. He is not responsible for shit.
I have an 8-year-old right now, and he can't even hit the broadside of a barn on his fucking Xbox. So
not only that, but
I'm not very scared of him, to be honest with you.
Do you think he really understands consequences of tomorrow? Does he know what tomorrow is, or is he just in full hyperactive mode all the time like mine? So that's what happened in this town. So
that's crazy.
This town has had some weird shit go on. That happened during the cases we're going to talk about here. So really brought this town some attention. The 8-year-old kid actually overshadowed this case because how often does an 8-year-old kid get charged with homicide? Never, because that's insane. Clearly, that's nuts. Meanwhile, we'll see it's somebody here that gets away with pretty much murder anyway. Okay. But the 8-year-old, though, he's locked up. Let's lock him up. Good.
Let's keep that menace to society and behind bars.
Got to keep him behind bars. Now, April of 2007, we'll start here. The body of 72-year-old William Stoney McCarger was found dead in his bed with several .22 caliber gunshot wounds.
Yeesh.
Wounds also from different guns. They're all 22s, but from 2 different guns.
Oh, boy.
They discover later upon autopsy. They don't have any suspects. They have some suspicions, but nobody with any evidence that they could really call a suspect.
Okay.
Now, Stoney was a character. He's known as a real character. He's one of these kind of eccentric old guys, carries around a lot of cash, said to carry around thousands of dollars in cash for some reason, would have teenage boys do a lot of work on his property.
Oh, boy.
Sounds a little creepy, and we're going to get into him later on because I did some digging on him. Boy, and I found some shit. But, yeah, just a weird character, and known around town as one of these, like, oh, he's that eccentric, crazy character.
Right.
And up there, that's kind of a normal thing.
Yeah.
Everybody in this story has a stupid nickname. He's Stoney.
That's what I was just going to ask. Is that a nickname or is that his middle name?
Stoney's his nickname. We have another one that we'll get into here that's ridiculous nickname. They're all like weirdo old guys who are like, hey, there's Stoney and there's so-and-so. And we go down to the coffee shop and see them all. It's very odd. Now, late 2007, Apache County Sheriff Sergeant Spivey sees a truck. This is, I think, is complete bullshit. This is what he says he did. Okay. He says he's in a Circle K parking lot and he eyeballed the tire treads on a car as possibly matching that homicide from 6 months ago.
That's some unbelievable police work and a hell of a memory, by the way.
He remembered to the T the tread marks and said, that car there.
That's the one.
More like he thought he should talk to these 2 idiots and had no other reason to talk to them and said, I recognize the tread marks. Okay, pal, sure you did. Whatever gets you to cracking the case, but
whatever gets you from A to B, I'm good with.
Yeah, he said it looked like the treads in the mud at the Stoney's murder scene.
Yeah.
So stupid.
If you were such a great police officer, you'd be working in another city, sir.
That's another thing. So Spivey, he talks to the driver of the van, who is a 20-year-old man named Joseph Roberts.
Yeah.
And Joseph Roberts denies any involvement. He says, I don't know anything about it. It's my friend's van. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything. And unless the kid says, sure, I killed the guy, all you have is I eyeballed tire treads. There isn't really much you can keep him on at that
They don't
point.
happen to have a Xerox machine up there, do they?
Exactly. That's what it is. They're going to absolutely do that to him. I feel like he's a perfect candidate for this idiot.
For the Xerox lie detector.
It's perfect. I'm telling you.
I just got a picture of it again.
Lie. Oh, shit. All right, I did it.
Go back and listen to that one. What was that? Episode 3.
Episode, no, that was 5, I
Was
think.
it 5? It
That
was 2 weeks
episode
ago.
5.
Yeah, right.
2 weeks with the lie detector. That's the Eaton, Ohio murder. A murder for greed in Eaton, Ohio is the name of it. So in late 2007, police also talked to a 19-year-old man named William Inman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now William is he's a weird little character too. This William Inman. He's another one. He's kind of a scruffy, dirty kid. He wears swastikas. Wears swastika buttons on his hat. Is obsessed with the military. Dresses in a lot of like khaki and like olive drab green stuff like that. So he's
not a good kid.
No, he's part of this. He's going to the preparedness fair on the 8th, I think, this guy.
Well, he would be.
So he would be. So they talked to him about Stoney's murder, and he says, quote, the whole town is suspect because a lot of people don't care for Stoney.
Whoa.
When someone says that, you go, okay, that's suspect right there.
It's a weird thing to say.
It's a weird thing to say, rather than, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's the whole town. Anybody could have done it. Everyone hates that fucking guy. Stoney's daughter, at this point, his daughter-in-law, I apologize, she said, quote, he was a gritty, crass old man who had a big heart that a lot of people never saw, but he would give you the shirt off of his back.
Aww.
That's what she says about him, and that's what she thinks about him.
Yeah.
That's generally what the town thinks about him. I found some shit to the contrary, though, that we'll get into in a minute. But before that, in March 2009, now 60-year-old Daniel Acton goes missing from his home near St. John's.
Oh, no.
So this is another guy. Now, this is in, year and a half now, 2 people just up and disappear.
Old men.
Well, one's dead in the bed, and this guy's just gone from his home. He is known as Hummer Dan to the locals.
That is a terrible nickname.
That's possibly the worst nickname I've ever heard. That sounds
I don't
like
want to
he
go
blows
by that
guys.
ever, even if I've got a Hummer.
No.
I don't want to
Hummer
leave
Dan.
that out of my name altogether.
It wasn't because he drove a Hummer. It was because he constantly hums, apparently. He's constantly humming something. I don't know if it's a tick or what his deal
I don't know.
is.
Call him Music Man. Call him Piano Man.
Hummer Dan.
Ugh,
Come on,
what a
Hummer
terrible
Dan.
name.
Stoney and Hummer Dan. He's Hummer Dan.
They're not very clever up there either.
No,
That's a
just
terrible
Hummer Dan.
nickname.
The Stoney is actually a self-given nickname.
Okay.
As we'll find out, it's actually more of an alias than a nickname.
All right.
So this Hummer Dan is a retired Marine. He's a career Marine, Vietnam vet.
He's a hero.
Yeah. And police have no leads on his whereabouts. He's also kind of a drug addict and a bit of a scumbag.
Okay.
So I mean that's fine and all. That doesn't take anything away from his previous accomplishments. But
right.
At
It also
this point,
doesn't make him eligible to be murdered.
No,
but
not
it
at
definitely
all.
ups the chances
Not at
of
all.
it.
No, it does. Now, August 14th, 2009, a 16-year-old St. John's boy named Ricky Flores is reported missing by his mother.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, he left on the 13th of August without a change of clothes. He didn't take his phone charger with him, so he's not planning on being gone long. But he was carrying a gun strapped to his hip, which is not legal for a 16-year-old to do. And I was like, why does he have a gun? And then I thought, oh, yeah, because he lives in the fucking mountains. Literally going from the house to the car with his friend, he might get attacked by a bear.
It's dangerous.
So I get it. Okay. Now, he leaves in the day on the 13th. Later on that day, Flores texts his mother to tell him that he was with William Inman, just to let her know what he was doing, because he's 16 fucking years old.
Right.
So he's with William Inman, whatever, but he disappears. He's gone. William says, I don't know. I dropped him off in town. I don't know shit about shit. I don't know. Don't know where he is.
That's no good.
So he's just gone. Now, Flores, Ricky, he was a high school dropout. He's considered a nice kid. Everybody that saw him liked him, but he's just kind of a kid that fucks up a lot.
Yeah.
He does drugs. He drops out of high school. He's already a father. He he has a 1-year-old child at this point that he had with a girl named Jessica Johnson, who's also 16. At least she wasn't 13.
Right.
There was also 16. They have a 1-year-old.
Terrible.
And an on and off relationship, basically, that these two have. They met in middle school.
As they would when they're 16 and have a baby together. You don't want to be around that woman very long.
They met when they were 13 in the 8th grade. I mean, you're going to have... things are going to happen here. Early September 2009, Sergeant Spivey, the tire man,
the tire professional,
the amazing Eagle Tire Eye guy, he says he decides at this point it's time to have another chat with Joseph Roberts after he finds Roberts driving a Corvette. Now, you'd say, why does this kid have a Corvette?
Yeah.
Well, it's even weirder because the Corvette belongs to Hummer Dan.
Oh, no.
So that's a bad sign if you're driving a missing man's car.
Yeah.
That's not great. Robert said he doesn't know anything about Hummer Dan.
He also doesn't know anything about police work or
Nothing.
Watches zero crime programming.
You're absolutely right. The Xerox lie detector would have worked so well on these guys.
Easy.
They were
Done
like,
deal.
oh, I'm done. Fuck it. So he says he got the vet from William Inman.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I don't know. William Inman said, hey, you can drive this car. So I drove it. I didn't even know who it belonged to.
Why does William Inman have this car?
Well, let's find out here.
Okay.
Now, in late August, a partially burned body is found in a shallow grave in Blue, which is in northern Greenlee County, which is the middle of nowhere. It's 80 miles from St. John's.
Okay.
It's literally like it's like an Alaska town.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing there.
Like a stone's throw from the border, though.
It is. It's right by the border, exactly, of New Mexico.
Yeah.
The body turns out to be 16-year-old Ricky Flores of St. John. So now we have 3 bodies, one in the bed, one missing, and one in a shallow grave partially
On fire.
burned.
Yeah.
So we have that's a nice escalation, I would say, for that. Now, August 2009, police from nearby St. John's. This is amazing because
I always look forward to whenever you giggle a smidge.
This is ridiculous. This is the funniest, stupidest thing we've ever had a person do in any of our shows. It's amazing. Okay, police from nearby St. John's come to Springerville, which is right next door.
Yep.
It's the town next door, and that's where Inman is staying at this point. So he's living in Springerville with his 44-year-old girlfriend. He's 21 at the time.
What?
Which is weird if it's a 44-year-old man and a 21-year-old girl, and even weirder if it's the opposite.
It's just as bizarre.
It's just weird. It's just strange. His girlfriend, Storm Williams.
Oh, boy.
She sounds like she's a character.
That's
Storm
a nickname.
Williams. That's a nickname. No, that's her real name.
She really is an X-Men character.
Her
She's
name
really
is
named Storm.
And
wow.
somebody even back in the
back in the
60s named her that,
ridiculous.
Which is strange. But so the police come to the house because they have a search warrant to search their home in
Springerville.
Inman and Storm Williams' home. Okay, Inman, rather than staying there for the search and acting casual, he runs from the house. In his mind, this was to keep attention off of him. He ran from the house, which I don't understand how that works. Which he wasn't under arrest at the time, so he was allowed to leave if he wanted to. So they were like, I guess we
started
let him
lighting fireworks and kicking dogs and just trying to keep the attention off of him.
Just trying to keep it all separate. Okay. This is nuts, okay? So where do you think he's going? Just anywhere.
Just running.
Hiding in the woods?
Yeah.
Away from cops,
yes.
you think. Just hide in the woods.
Places
in a
where
dumpster,
police are not at.
In a bar somewhere, maybe. Just turned 21, sneak in there. What he does is he sprints 2.5 blocks to the Springerville police station.
What?
He goes to the police station. This is his idea, okay?
He's going to call the police on the police?
He goes there, and he says that he's there to make a complaint, informal complaint. He doesn't want to fill out any paperwork or anything, but an informal complaint to the chief, Steve West, about the cops there at his house. He tells the Chief West that the police were bothering him, and he wanted Chief West to get rid of them. He said
he's filing a harassment complaint
against cops with a search warrant. With a search warrant. He said he told Chief West, quote, "There's people in your town." What is it, the 1700s? Get out of my town. No sheriff comes in here with me. Like, no.
He thinks he's Paul Revere.
Yeah, I don't know what he thinks. I don't know if he thinks this is, a Tombstone in 1884 or what he thinks is going on.
He thinks he's warning the military of the redcoats.
Yeah, he went to tell Wyatt that the Cowboys are back. Like, what the fuck is going on? This is insane, right?
Get Doc on the street sweeper. Come on, let's go.
Let's do it. Come on now. Get Doc on the street sweeper. It's perfect. That's what he's thinking, though. He's really thinking, like, calling the cavalry.
Virgil, let's go.
We're going to get some St. John's Town Pride. Was it a town of friendly neighbors? Yeah. You're my friendly neighbor.
Let's go have a shootout at the OK Corral. Let's do this.
Run these fuckers out of town. They think they are.
Get Doc with his tuberculosis out here.
Cough on him, Doc. Get him out of here. So
this is fucking incredible.
This is incredible. He told Chief West that Inman came to him because, quote, everyone says you'll listen. Who is he talking to?
The people in his head.
Don't talk. He'll listen. He'll listen. So West said that Inman thought that West would say, "Hey, get out of my jurisdiction," and run them off, like as we said, like he's Doc Holliday. He had then sitting there for a while. He admits that that they're investigating him for the Ricky Flores disappearance because Ricky Flores had told his mother he was with him. He was the last known person he was with. So you're going to be a suspect.
Definitely.
They're going to take a look at you at least for that one. Now, Inman ends up telling West his whole life story. He sits there, tells him his whole story, tells him about how he grew up, tells him he grew up. He's from Phoenix, Inman. He's a Phoenix kid. He's a South Phoenix kid, actually.
Oh, that's not a good place to grow up.
Not at all. South Phoenix, moved to the area a few years before. He's said to have a lot of family problems. Parents did a lot of drugs and just a shit family life in general.
Makes sense.
Said that he's been working, and also he's been working at like a local convenience store, and he hangs out at the tire shop. That's quite the life for a 21-year-old. He's hanging out at the tire shop. He says that he has no family. His mother's still alive, but doesn't talk to her. Has no family. The only family he has is his childhood dog that he still has up there.
Oh, my God.
That was the only family he had, okay? Because we're going to find out what happened to his dog.
Oh, my God.
Now, also, too, when he walked into there, he had Nazi pins on. He went to the police station with Nazi pins, which I think would get you taken less seriously. Like, all right there, Adolf. Come on. Calm down.
Listen, Goebbels, we don't want to hear.
So, chill out there, Himmler. Calm down.
We don't need you and your goddamn buttons in here.
All right, Eichmann, take a walk. So Inman, after sitting there for a while and tells him of the heartbreak of, having his only family be this dog, he tells them, finally comes out and says, all right, I killed Hummer Dan. Says, I killed Hummer Dan. He says that their properties touch and that there were some disputes among them and that Hummer Dan also did drugs and he was a bad person and he killed his dog. He says Hummer Dan killed his dog. And he's
Hummer Dan hummed his dog to death.
Yep, and he just dropped dead. He says he killed his dog. Inman went to talk to him and ended up chasing him against a mobile home on the property and just unloading 22 rounds on him.
Wow.
And ended up, what he did after that, though?
Oh, my God, I don't want to know.
Calls his buddy Joseph Roberts up, the guy with the van that's been talked to before, and the vet, calls him up and says, got to help me burn this body.
Oh, Jesus.
So he goes, all right, and they try to burn Hummer Dan.
Right.
They, burn him up some.
As much as they could.
As much as they could, as we found out from that same Eaton
the
Ohio
Duraflame
episode.
didn't work.
It's not easy to burn a body.
No, it's not.
Those incinerators are very hot at the crematorium.
Right.
So Joseph Roberts comes over. They do that. They bury the body on Hummer Dan's property. It's a big property. They find a distant location.
Sure.
They bury him in a shallow grave on the property. And he would later take the police that day to find the body to the place. He took them to all these places and showed them what he did and did all this shit.
Wow.
He also says killed Stoney, too.
Uh-oh.
Killed him, too.
This shit just got unraveled.
Yep. Says that he and Joseph Roberts were the ones that shot him. Now, he's also just putting his friend in this, too.
Yeah.
He said that Inman asked Joseph Roberts if he would go with him and provide cover fire for him.
Cover fire.
Cover fire, like he's going into the battle. He thinks he's in the military, this kid, which he is clearly not.
No.
Unless it's the German army. I'm not sure. So he enlists him to give cover fire. They get another idiot over there.
God.
The guy with the van is James Dandridge. He's the driver. All he does is drive them and take them back. They pop out. They get to Stoney's house. They both have 22 rifles. Yep. Inman's like, here we go. We're doing this. Inman basically he cut the screen out of a window so he could open the window and then kick the side of the house to startle Stoney in bed. Right. Stoney sat up in bed, and they shot him a bunch of times through the window.
Wow.
They both unloaded on him through the window. They said like 15, 16 shots they fired on him.
Shitty, man.
And hit him with a lot of them, too.
Wow.
Like, they riddled him with bullets. He was like Sonny Corleone at the toll booth. You know what I mean?
I imagine it's a small house. I imagine it's not a long shot. And those rifles are so accurate.
And also, too, these kids probably shoot a lot. They live in the woods. Yeah. So they're probably pretty good shots, I would imagine.
Especially with a 22. It's not hard to hit what you're aiming at.
You're going to a preparedness festival here to do it, or festival.
My kid has shot a 22 before, and he's a pretty damn good shot with that thing.
They're not that tough to shoot.
No.
Too. There's not a lot of kick on them.
Right.
They're easy to do. So he says they awoke. They shot him 15 times and shot at him 15 times. Got back in the van where James Dandridge took him away. Now he said that he was proud of those murders. Inman is fucking proud.
Really?
He is proud. He said they were bad people. He claimed that several people in town had told him that Stoney had inappropriately touched them. Several teenage boys had told him that, and he was being the hand of justice here. He also claims that Stoney made a pass at him while Inman was doing work on his property in 2007, which caused him to want to kill him. Because he's a bad person and he's trying to molest him, even though he wasn't a child.
Right.
At that point, it's just making a pass at somebody, and that's not
really
illegal. That's not illegal.
It's two consenting adults.
Exactly.
I mean,
the
he's
kid
checking if he's consenting.
He's checking on him. Yeah, he's seeing that. Now, Stoney, I found out, everyone's saying he's just a nice old man with a big heart. Rarely, like I said, do we go after a victim, but this particular victim, I did some deep digging on him, and he has been in trouble for inappropriate relationships with young boys since the 60s.
Holy shit.
He was cited several times in documents from the Boy Scouts of America known as the perversion files, where they were trying to
The what?
The perversion files.
And
you can
his
look up
name is listed in it.
more than once.
Oh my God.
Because he didn't just get in trouble, get kicked out, and go away. He went to different states and used aliases.
Oh my God, he's worse
so he
than
could
the
be a
fucking,
scoutmaster.
He's worse than the goddamn.
Yeah, that's where Stoney came from.
What am I trying to think of the word?
He's worse than
He's
a lot
worse
of
than
things.
the priests. That's
He's
what I was
way
thinking.
worse than the priests.
diocese, because they would move shithead priests from diocese to diocese, and they would just fucking touch more kids there.
This guy is, but the Boy Scouts are trying to get rid of him. That's why they had these perversion files, because they wanted to have everybody on file so you could see if someone coming to volunteer was one of these weirdo perverts.
And his name is listed in it, and they're like,
multiple times.
Don't hire him.
That's why back then, before.
That's why he chose Stoney.
Yeah, that's why he chose
Motherfucker.
Because Stone was he would use Stone as an alias, and then he used Stoney as another alias. So he was just using all these aliases, and those are only the aliases they know are him. Too. It could be more that they don't know about, but they know he was in at least 3 places. And by the way, in all of the coverage of this case, none of this is in there.
Wow.
None of this. I found a piece of this in a small Nashua, New Hampshire newspaper.
Wow.
And then had to do Boy Scout digging and
You're
find
a monster.
perversion files. No, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
A reporter didn't do that.
Yeah, it shouldn't be buried like
They
that.
just
This
said,
should be able to be found,
he's
too.
a kindly old man that did that. No, he's a fucking child molester, too.
He's a terrible person.
And I don't just say that, too, because he also was arrested in New Hampshire in January 1962 for 3 counts of unnatural and lascivious acts with a child.
Ugh.
The illegal conduct was for boys who were 14 and 15 years old.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, this is a legal
He's a
thing.
pedophile,
He's
for
a
sure.
pedophile.
Yeah.
He pled guilty, and while he pled guilty, he was holding his Bible because he's a devout Catholic, he said. So it's like, yeah, I'm sure it was the Lord next to you, your fucking kids, you asshole. I hate this son of a bitch. He still has
Catholic is the perfect religion for him, though.
Yeah,
I'm being honest.
Well, yeah, let's be realistic here. No offense, but hey,
No offense,
history's
but
history.
whatever.
He still tried, by the way, after being arrested and blackballed from the Boy Scouts and being in their perversion files, he still was trying to register under aliases, and they would catch him and be like, "No, you're in the perversion files."
We have files named for your fucking behavior, you dick. And this bothers me even more so because my grandfather was a scoutmaster for 30 fucking years.
Yeah.
And he's an amazing man who taught boys how to do amazing things and how to survive. I'm so proud of him, and even more proud that he's not a piece of shit like this guy.
Exactly.
What a vile human being. And if my grandfather ever tells people he was a scoutmaster, I'm positive that fucking thought is in the back of their head.
It pops in.
Is this guy a weirdo?
Yeah. Is he weird? Why is he a scoutmaster?
He's not.
No. So anyway, he
My grandpa's amazing. Go on.
I'm sure he's a fine man. He's reiterated again. He's proud of killing Tom or Dan because he did drugs. He was just a quote bad person. He said he would kill both of them again if he could, and he planned on killing at least 2 more people in town if he wasn't caught right now.
Oh Jesus!
He planned on killing 2 drug dealers in town that he had his eye on that weren't that desirable that he wanted to get rid of.
He thinks he's Dexter.
He thinks he's Dexter. Now, the Ricky Flores thing is more complicated than him just killing someone for being a bad person.
Yeah.
This is deeper. The one thing, because he said he wasn't proud of killing Ricky Flores because he said they had been friends, but he killed him at the behest of Ricky's girlfriend's father.
What?
Ricky's girlfriend, Jessica Johnson, her father...
The 16-year-old girl.
The 16-year-old girl
was not happy that he knocked her up.
No, she was fine. Her father
was
happy.
not happy
No.
that he knocked up his daughter.
Also, too, he's Mexican. Father's a white supremacist. As we'll find out when he's arrested, he has all sorts of white power tattoos everywhere. So Jeffrey Johnson didn't like Ricky, obviously. He wanted to get rid of him. He didn't like him being around his girlfriend. He would call him a punk to his friends, this punk kid with my girlfriend, all this stuff. And I don't know if it was a racial thing or if it was just that this kid's a jerk-off and he knocked up my 15-year-old daughter, which would make you want to kill somebody anyway. So I get that, but you don't actually do it.
No.
Inman said Johnson offered him money to kill Flores. So now he's a hitman, too. Inman said he and Flores, he went and picked up Flores, and he was trying to tell Flores to change his life and not do drugs and shit like that. Like, I don't know what the point of that was.
Who is this guy?
He said, Inman said that he took that he, Inman, and his girlfriend, Storm Williams, picked him up and drove him out to a remote location, and they got in an argument over drugs, and Inman shot Ricky once in the left ear with a 12-gauge shotgun.
Whoa.
Which will do the trick.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. And then Inman and, like I said, Storm Williams here, they're out in the forest, and then they end up taking him out to Blue out in the middle of nowhere, like we said, in the Greeley County, and trying to burn him and bury him in a shallow grave. So
that didn't work.
They found him. Well, he told them where he was. They found him. But before they buried Flores, William Inman took Flores's body to Jeffrey Johnson's house.
Oh, my God.
Killed him, and on the way to bury him, he took him there, quote, just to show Jeff that the job was done.
Wow.
So he wanted to prove to him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is hardcore.
I mean, if the kid doesn't come back and you just say, I killed him, that's evidence enough for me.
That's good enough. No, he said, here's the body, all shot in the head. Now, when they brought Flores to the house, the mother was there. The wife, 37-year-old Melissa Johnson, was there.
Oh, Jesus.
And she saw the body and didn't do anything to stop it.
What?
Didn't call police, didn't do anything. So after he's confessing, Jeffrey Johnson's arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Melissa Johnson is charged with hindering a criminal prosecution, false information, and giving false info to law enforcement.
Accessory after the fact.
That's basically what that is. Yeah, it's accessory after the fact. Now, Inman and Williams, the girlfriend, will be charged with first-degree murder after taking the police to find the body and all that sort of thing. The girlfriend must be like, Jesus, this was your idea, and now you're fucking putting me in the pokey for it. Thanks a lot.
And meanwhile, she's a 16-year-old girl who probably relies pretty heavily on her parents to help her raise this child. So. She's completely fucked now.
The father's gone.
She's not even an adult.
Melissa Johnson doesn't get time for this. She ends up coming out, and actually Melissa Johnson and Jessica end up living with Ricky Flores' mother.
Wow.
Which is very interesting.
That's pretty fucking sordid.
Some deep, sordid shit, right? Yeah, it's
that's some
really
forgiveness, too.
I would say so, man. Now, Joseph Roberts, for his one murder and one disposal at this point, he is charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy, theft of means of transportation, mutilating a human body, concealment of a dead body, tampering with physical evidence, and hindering prosecution.
Oh, God.
They're trying to bang him good.
Yeah.
Now,
in Arizona, you're facing a big one, sir.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Now, he says at the town, they interview the town here. There's an investigator, a cop, Brian Hounshell, who comes up later. He says about Joseph and William. He says, or about William specifically, quote, this is an animal that needs to be caged. He needs to be incarcerated for the rest of his life. And then here's one from a resident of the town named Autumn Smith in the paper. She just said, you see something like this at least once a week in Phoenix, but this is a little town where everyone knows everyone. It's ridiculous that people are killing people they know.
Where in Phoenix is she from?
I don't know where.
I've never seen this.
There is not a serial killer on the loose once a week, at least once a week in Phoenix, first of all. And second of all, it's ridiculous that people are killing people they know. 85% of murders are people they know.
Right.
That's how murders work. It's just
There's not just random-ass people running around the country killing everybody.
Generally
From time to time that happens. It happens. But it's mostly crimes of passion. Yeah.
But mostly it's for a reason. Right. I don't like her. I want money. I want this. She can tell on me. He can do this to me.
She has a life insurance policy, and guess what? I'm the beneficiary because we're close, because we know each other.
Because we know each other. That's the thing. So, you would have a reason to... Plus, if you don't know somebody, for me personally, it's like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
That's it. He's a dick. Whatever. Go away. Yeah, fuck him. I don't have to talk to him then. Whereas if it's your family, you're like, okay, I got to either kill them or deal with them every day forever.
It's a different fuck that guy. It's fuck that guy.
Yeah. I either have to deal with them for the rest of my life or kill them now. My only choices. I have no other way out. That's family. So, Inman... Jesus. Inman's pretty agreeable about this whole thing. He's just like, well, did it. I don't know.
That's
did
everything.
Proud of it.
There it is.
Yep. He agrees to plead guilty to 3 counts of dangerous manslaughter and 2 counts of abandonment and concealment of a dead body. The state will not seek the death penalty, even though he's technically, by the way, a serial killer. He falls under the technical...
He killed 3 people.
He is actually he's 21 when 21 when they arrested him, and he started this when he was 17. He's actually... 19. He's actually one of the youngest serial killers in the history of America.
Wow.
But he's overshadowed by an 8-year-old who shot his dad in the news.
And that's definitely a serial killer because it's 3 different occurrences.
Yeah, 3 different occurrences.
That's serial murder.
He's a vigilante style is what they call them. That's his type of thing here. Also, too, they'll give him some sentencing consideration in exchange for testimony against the others also here. Also, the charge of, in part of the deal, they're going to dismiss the charge of damaging his jail cell, which apparently he went a little buck wild in his jail cell. Made a mess of shit. I don't know I don't know what you can do to a St. John's, Arizona jail cell to cause much damage. But
there's very little in there, and most everything that's in there is bolted down, unless you own it.
Yeah, I feel like he fucked up the sink or something. He clogged the toilet. I don't know what he did.
Flushed all the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Started throwing those fucking moon patties where soak a bunch of toilet paper and throw it at the ceiling.
Like you ruined the acoustic tiles. So... Jesus.
It's going to take months to scrape all that off. It's all dried now.
Jesus. We got to hire some teenage boys to come do that. Well,
Somebody with
never
a
mind.
power
Never mind. We'll
washer.
get killed that way. So William Inman on September 30th, 2009, pleads guilty to all 3 murders. Because of his age and cooperation, like I said, no death penalty. Now, September 2010, this is a year later, full year, Inman's attorney, Bruce Griffin, files a motion to withdraw the plea agreement and files for a competency hearing. His idea is like, look, let's just say you're crazy.
Yeah.
Let's just say fuck it. The judge denies both.
Let's just say
Fuck it. Let's just try again. Try again. Can't go worse.
I see the lawyer actually saying those exact words. He probably called his lawyer and was like, is there anything we can do to try to like reverse this? Because I'm having a little bit of remorse about pleading guilty. And he's like, want to just say, let's just say fuck it.
Fuck it? Is that cool? Is that cool with you? Is it cool? I'm going to call the job. I'm going to try.
I think it's
Let's
a
try.
legal defense. Let's just go
try.
with it.
I feel like I could see him metaphorically just blowing the dice. Come on. So he rolls a snake eyes as the judge denies him. Basically, to get out of the deal that's been set for a year, he would have to prove some sort of, quote, injustice on the prosecutor's part in making the deal, which they can't because it was made in good faith. So Apache County Superior Court judge in 2011, remember Joseph Roberts is charged. Apache County Superior Judge throws out all the charges against Roberts.
What?
Throws out all of them.
Why?
All of them. Says the reason is in February 2010, investigators, including Houndshell, who said he needs to spend the rest of his life in a cage, met with Roberts in jail to discuss his plea and try to get him to take a deal. They did this without notifying his counsel, and they did this without explaining anything to him.
Oh, my God.
Rights. They didn't Miranda. They didn't do anything they needed to do. They just went down and tried to talk him into it.
What
basically,
the fuck?
Which is not legal to do at all.
And they blew it.
So, yeah, all charges are dismissed. Not only dismissed with prejudice, which means
they cannot retry.
They can't retry. They can't refile these charges.
This lucky son of a bitch.
He walks out of the courtroom.
Wow.
Not even held for bond because there's no charges.
Nothing.
Walks out of the courtroom a free man in 2011. Prosecution says they will appeal the case. Apache County Attorney Michael Whiting said about this, I have a couple quotes from him because they're good. Quote, I can tell you that the moment I found out he was going to be out, I was worried. This is an individual that was charged with first-degree murder, and last night we went to bed wondering where he is and what he's doing.
Fuck yeah.
No shit. And he also said about it, because he's pissed off in this one about the whole decision. He says, quote, like the rest of the county, we are shocked and left wondering why a judge would do such a thing without referencing any legal authority to do so. Judge Grimsley's decision to release the defendant who is being held on first-degree murder has re-victimized the victims. This is a travesty of justice in the first degree.
Wow.
Like, that's a statement right there. He said,
and
fuck
that was
you,
just
Judge.
a regular-ass person?
That was the prosecutor.
Okay,
He was like, fuck,
that makes more sense.
Yeah, he had this shit planned out.
Yeah.
God damn it. So now on September 9th, 2011, William Inman is sentenced in St. John's, 3 counts of manslaughter. The way they're going to do it is basically 24 years to life.
Okay.
It's 21 years for each count to be served. Those are going to be served concurrently, and then he has 2 counts of abandonment or concealment of a body, which are 18 months apiece on each count maximum. So it's a 24 to life is his deal basically, and the also subject to $450,000 in fines. He works at a convenience store and hangs out at a tire shop.
He wasn't going to make that in his life.
Never. The sentence is down from 25 to life, which is the usual deal for cooperation, because as part of the deal, he gets 1 year off.
Wow.
So he gets 24 to life instead of 25 to life. Yeah. They must have just been like, this kid's an idiot. I mean, I don't know. Let's just let him out and see what happens. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Roll those dice.
Guys, fuck. So yeah, he must serve all 24 before he's up for parole.
That's at least some silver lining.
He's going to be 45 or 47
That's crazy.
before he gets out, possibly.
He isn't even going to be 50.
No.
And he killed 3 people. And he could possibly be out.
Yes. And Joseph Roberts, that appeal was actually overturned.
Good.
And they said they were allowed to charge him again. But I searched and I searched and I searched. I can find no trial, no charges, no pleas, nothing.
They didn't try him yet.
Don't think they tried him again yet. But this was in 2012, so it's been 5 years. What are you waiting for here?
Yeah, let's
they
go.
have all the evidence. They have
kickstart this shit.
I don't get it. They have confessions of Inman putting him in with him there. His own confessions at the time. It makes no sense.
And Inman's convicted, so what are we doing here? So he didn't have to be convicted.
I don't know. To wrap it up, we have St. John's police chief here. He says, quote, when tragedy happens here, we are a little more involved. It affects us a little harder than it might in other places. And that's St. John's and the town of St. John's and this William Inman insanity.
Wow.
Imagine being that chief of police in a small town. You're bored. You're probably sitting there reading a magazine, dicking around your phone, eating a donut.
Right.
And this kid walks in and you're like, what's this jerk off want with his Nazi pins?
They're in your town. We got to talk.
Yeah, he's like, oh, Christ, I got to deal with this asshole. Like, he probably just thought this will be entertaining. Yeah. Like, what do you got, jerk off? And then next thing you know, he's like, I'm clearing 3 murders here. And the police chief, he didn't even prompt him.
Right.
He didn't say like anything. He literally just said what happened, and he just sat down Inman and told him his life story up to and including killing 3 people.
Right. The best part is
Insane.
that police chief gets to clear 3 murders that he didn't even know he had.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, he knew they existed,
Right.
these murders.
Oh,
but
okay.
it was
All
just like, well, shit, I get.
But they weren't in
walked
his
and was
county,
that.
so he didn't have to deal
They
with
were
it.
in the next town,
Right.
but some of them were. But Ricky Flores is from
Oh,
St.
he
John's,
was there.
so
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
there,
yeah.
and it's the next town over. But he was just like, I don't know, who expects to just get cleared like that.
Amazing.
That's this case, man. It's nuts. So William Inman is in jail up there in Apache County, and good for him. He's up in the middle of nowhere in the forest in a jail.
Yeah.
Which is a good place for him.
And we'll wait on the other fuckface.
We'll
Fingers
wait on
crossed.
the other guy, and so that's that. Holy shit. I take it you don't want any of that real estate in St. John's that we talked about earlier. A lot of acreage for cheap, but let's not go crazy here. Oh, my goodness. So do we have any shout-outs for this week,
let's
Jimmy?
talk about
do
some people that are amazing.
If you want a shout-out, please, you can contact us on social media. It's at Murder Small on Twitter, Small Town Pod on Facebook. If you really also to iTunes reviews, shout-outs for that. Please, iTunes reviews. Give us 5 stars. Tell us you like the show. Tell us anything you want. Really don't care. Just give us 5 stars. It really, really helps out. And if you don't want to give us 5 stars, don't fucking bother.
Right.
Just stop.
Just turn it off.
This isn't a restaurant.
It was free.
This isn't a restaurant with a Yelp review. You didn't spend your whole night, take your wife, spend $150 and buy a bottle of wine, and they fucked you over. This is free.
Right. You didn't get a babysitter for this shit.
Yeah, we put a lot of time and work and effort into this. So if you don't like it, just we'll say we'll be happy to part company.
Bye.
But if you like it, please give us an iTunes review.
Been our pleasure.
Been our pleasure. And if you love us and you want us to have a few dollars from you, you can go to patreon.com/crimeinsports, which is our other podcast. But you can donate there, and it all goes to us. And that would be wonderful also. And here are these fine people who have been so kind to us.
Let's start with @GG Creation on Twitter. Kristen in Greensburg, PA. Becky Punky Baxter. Punky Baxter. @Punky Baxter. Anyway.
Little Punky Brewster reference.
Right. Jillian Hobday. Abby Saunders in the UK. Lauren Marie in NorCal. Ash Rose. Lee Brown. Kayla Selby. Francis Edwards. And B.Al Daraj. I love that one.
Daraj.
Because
That's a cool name.
I think she's Pakistani or Indian.
Really? Cool.
I can't remember.
The cool name.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
great.
that name. It sounds
gorgeous.
It's like
her
it
actual
flows.
first name is B.
That's pretty cool.
That's
man.
pretty
that
bitchin'.
flows.
Yeah.
Her last
Danny
name's good.
Creek, Dame Judy Bent, Shannon Lamb, Eric Bingham, and Savannah Trainer. Thank you guys so much
Thank you guys
for everything
so much.
this week.
You make this worthwhile, and we love doing this, and we'll be back here each and every week. Hope you'll join us with us.
Yeah.
Hope you'll be here with us every single week. Until then, we'll see you next week, guys. It's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
with a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.